What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Aeron from the Wrestle Plug, the harbinger of professional wrestling, and I'm here to discuss AEW Dynamite Quickfire. So, let's get to it. AEW Dynamite last night, what a show we had, and what a way to open up the show. Cody versus Darby Allin in the first of two semi-finals to decide who will compete in the final for the TNT Championship. My God, this match was fucking awesome. Darby Allin and Cody wrestled each other originally to a time limit draw, and I remember saying that was one of my matches of the year, and this is another one of those candidates. They just work beautifully together. Physical, vicious contest, added to it by the fact that you had Chris Jericho and Tony Schiavone on comms. Chris Jericho is adding so much to this product just by hearing his voice. It is phenomenal. This guy needs to be paid to do commentary full time because he is that good at it. I am absolutely adoring it. I really am. They've got the potential for multiple commentary teams now with the way he's going, but man, sticking with Cody and Darby Allin, just a brilliant matchup. Like the interference with Rhodes getting leveled, like the tiny little bits of storytelling, Cody's knee, Darby Allin going after the knee. This was a phenomenal contest. If I'm going to be a bit of a nitpicker, there were times when Cody was selling a knee and times when he wasn't, and I get adrenaline and things like that, but that's a tiny critique. This was phenomenal. This is a match that you could watch over and over and over, and with Double or Nothing looming, it's phenomenal to see these guys putting out this level of contest with a pay-per-view looming, like I say, because you would forgive them for saving a little bit, especially with Double or Nothing coming around, as I've said, but instead these guys are just going hell for leather, providing us with 4.5 star matches, going all out, and I love this match. I really did. This is how you open a show. It gets you invested, it gets you hyped, it gets you excited. I loved it. Absolutely loved every single second of it. Thought it was a phenomenal contest, and of course Cody moving on, as I've said before, it was the only critique I have of this TNT Championship tournament is it was very evident from the get-go, especially with Lance Archer coming out and Jake Roberts, his manager, making it very clear that he wanted a piece of Caesar, as he was calling him. It was very, very obvious that it was going to end up this way. That's my only critique of it, that we were going to find those two facing off against each other. But the stories being told going into it have been excellent. There's been some top quality wrestling. Little things as well. Sean Spears being at ringside, part of this makeshift crowd, so to speak, of wrestlers. Really being invested in the idea of Darby Allin beating Cody because Cody beat him in the quarterfinals. I like that. I really like that. It just sells the point, drives it home just that little bit more. Really, really appreciated it. Thought it was a fantastic contest. This show was full of great wrestling, actually. I was really, really impressed. Love the hardcore match, the no DQ match between Jimmy Havoc and Kip Sabian and the Best Friends with Penelope Ford and Orange Cassidy at ringside. Thought this match was physical, thought it was vicious. Bit disappointed the Best Friends won, but a good tag team should always beat two makeshift guys, so I don't have too much of an issue with it. It's kind of sad that we get to see the best and the worst of Jimmy Havoc, because we get to see what he's all about, the hardcore side of him. He's a world-class wrestler as well, and obviously he's representing the UK so beautifully, as is Kip Sabian as well. But then he also doesn't seem to pick up any real steam in this company. He doesn't pick up any marquee wins, and considering he's one of the most available wrestlers to them, I think that's still very disappointing. And I've mentioned this on other reviews, but particularly when we're talking about a hardcore match as well, which is his element, it is disappointing. It is disappointing to know that Jimmy Havoc isn't getting the win in matches like that. But this match was phenomenal. Orange Cassidy getting a chair in the face off and running was very amusing to me. I like Orange Cassidy, and I think he's definitely got a place on the roster. I'm certainly not in the Cornette camp when it comes to Orange Cassidy, but at the same time, I do think that if you're going to have a gimmick like this, you shouldn't be taken as seriously as other members of the roster, and when it comes down to it, you should be more of a punching bag or a comedic element. And to be fair, this is the way you use Orange Cassidy the right way. I've got no doubt that he's a world-class wrestler. We all know that. My problem with Orange Cassidy is that if you're not going to see much of him as a serious wrestler or as, a kind of fun-loving guy who turns it on from the get-go, then this is the way to use him as kind of like a distraction or an idiot so to speak. And he does that well, to be fair. He's a character without ever cutting a promo, which is very, very cool. Yeah, I'm not going to hate on Orange Cassidy. I appreciate what he brings to the table, and he brings something different, and there's nobody else like him. So, some people have said to me, well, there's nobody else like him for a reason, because it's shit. Well, that's your opinion. You're entitled to it, as is Mr. Cornette. But for me, as long as he's not taking people like Pac to the limit, which admittedly was slightly annoying, although a fantastic match, I have no problem with it. I really don't. My issue will be if they start putting him in the ring regularly. I want to see more from him. The gimmick doesn't hold up if he's going to get in there and have a 20-minute barn burner. It just doesn't. It's like, I'm actually going to try now. Well, you should be trying all the time. Speaking of something trying, and somebody who tried very hard, that was Marko Stunt, who got wrecked by Brodie Lee. Now, I have gone on record as saying I expected this match to last 20 seconds, and I'd be annoyed if it went any longer than that. But what I liked about this was, and people made this argument to me all the time, saying, and AEW fans in particular, right? Just because we love AEW doesn't mean it's not open to criticism, okay? And whenever somebody critiques something, I've noticed on social media, AEW fans are up in arms. Yeah, well, you just didn't get it. Oh, you didn't see the story. No, sometimes they're just wrong. Sometimes they don't get everything right. That's part of the process. That's part of just being alive, I'm afraid. It's part of being a human being. Nothing is perfection, and nothing lasts forever. You should know this by now. And I saw people when Kenny Omega was attacked for his match with Alan Angels, which was a really shocking example, by the way, because Alan Angels is a world-class athlete and wrestler in his own right, so he should have got some share of offense in. But I've seen people saying, like, at the end of the day, they're trying to help get their partners over, and the reason that they didn't beat them so quickly is because they were toying with their opponent. No. You don't toy with your opponent if you're Kenny Omega. That's not how it is. Heels toy with their opponents. And this is exactly what Brodie Lee did. He kicked the living shit out of Marko Stunt, as he should. And there seems to be some tiny little side story, if you read between the lines. Anyone picking up on this? This idea that Marko Stunt, look at him, he's out there, he's unwanted, he's small, where's his friends from Jurassic Express? I know, obviously, coronavirus, we're talking from a kayfabe standpoint, but I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, the Dark Order may be sort of playing to that, and maybe the fact that he wouldn't back down, and even though he was getting the shite kicked out of him, is a sub-storyline, there's something subtle going on there, and I'm very intrigued to see if they're going to play up to that more, because Marko Stunt might have found himself a much better proposition being in something like the Dark Order, as opposed to just being the little nipper that runs around Jurassic Express. Nonetheless, Brodie Lee coming out of this looking fantastic. Great show of dominance. It doesn't really prove anything that he can kick the shit out of Marko Stunt, but if they're going to lead to, like I say, stuff with Marko Stunt and the Dark Order down the line, then this is a nice little set piece for that, so I was happy with it. We also got to see Wardlow murder some jobber as well. Very amusing. Yeah, no idea. Forgotten his name already, and that's basically how it should be. Wardlow running this guy over was very amusing to me. And also Chris Jericho running down the scrubs and the, shall we say, the tryouts and indie darlings on commentary is so fun. The way he goes after Sugar Dunkerton and screaming at him about how he hates Pineapple Pete is just gold. Classic heel fare. Really, really love it. Really, really funny stuff. Really entertaining. These matches were very nice. They were placed in the middle. They acted as a nice little foil for everything else that was going on. We got MJF cutting a promo. We got the best bubbly bunch yet, for my money. There's been a kind of TikTok craze running around lately, and they've been taking the piss out of that, calling it its own thing and calling this the Manitoba Melee. It was great fun. Loads of people, surprise entrance. If you're from the UK, you may not recognise a few of these people as much. I popped in particular for the guy from America's Got Talent, the comedian with the disabled arm, the disability, should I say. Just a very cool human being in his own right. And I know that he was friends with Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho made an appearance on on America's Got Talent with this guy. So it's very cool to see him. And when he was like, "Is that Lou Ferrigno with a taser?" It's just really good fun. And Sammy saying everybody could suck his big ass bottle of hand sanitizer. It was just it was really good fun. And also Jake Hager is really amusing in these little vignettes. I think they're funny. I think they're entertaining. These are fantastic. These are a TV series in their own right. And like I've said for the last couple of weeks, they remind me of the Fashion Files. They remind me of the Dirt Sheet with Miz and Morrison. They're just a bit of fun, and they add a bit of comic relief to the show, and there's plenty of serious stuff in this show, and I like the balance. And this was one of the better Dynamites I've seen in a while. Once again, I thought they really nailed it this week. Really good fun, and it was capped off by this physical and emotional confrontation between Dustin Rhodes and, of course, the Murderhawk, Lance Archer. Now, you kind of knew Lance Archer was going to win, but what I liked about it was the storytelling aspect. And I also liked the fact that although Lance Archer was still, 100 miles an hour, just randomly beating the shit out of some poor fucker as he came out, and the way that everybody gets in the Gunn family's face as well if they're a heel, great fun. We saw that as well, of course, with Sean Spears jobbing out some poor sucker as well, which was good fun as well. Always nice to see Sean Spears, by the way. But I like the fact that Lance Archer sold the fact that Dustin Rhodes is not a small man. He's 6'5", 6'6" in his own right. He's a big boy, big old Texan lad, and you wouldn't mess around with somebody like that. And I like the fact that there was a more serious edge to the way Lance Archer presented himself in this match, and the storytelling was phenomenal. And when it came down to it, he just kept beating him down and down, and no matter what Dustin Rhodes tried to do, he couldn't overcome him. And the fact that Cody and QT Marshall came down the ringside, and there was this temptation to throw in the towel. I loved the imagery of it all when he was pounding his head into the mat, and then he finally pinned him while staring down Cody. The fact that we are going to get Cody versus the Murderhawk Lance Archer at Double or Nothing to crown the first TNT champion. This is something that is going to be very, very exciting. And it's, I believe, the first match set for Double or Nothing as far as I know. And it looks good. It looks really, really good. It just looks like it could be a phenomenal matchup. Cody is a star maker. He really is. Me and Steve regularly would speak about how Mick Foley was so good at making stars of other guys while still being over himself in WWF and WWE. And Cody has done the same since he's got to AEW. You think about all the great matches he's had. He wrestled Darby Allin. Darby Allin's a bigger star for it. He wrestled Sean Spears, and then that kind of went away. So Sean Spears is kind of the anomaly in that. But they're using him now. And to be fair, before that matchup, people weren't really bothered about what they were doing with Sean Spears. So it did bring him into the spotlight, especially with that earth-shattering steel chair shot. He wrestled MJF, and MJF is bigger than ever because of that rivalry they had. He wrestled Chris Jericho and helped elevate Chris Jericho that little bit further. Not that Chris Jericho ever needs elevation, but that's kind of the joy of Cody, is everybody he gets in the ring with feels bigger and better for it, even if they already are the best. And that's the great thing about him. Sammy Guevara being one of the shining examples of that. The amount of times they've been at each other and the social media nonsense involving Brandy, and it's just helped elevate his star just that little bit more. I love it. Absolutely love it. I love the fact he's so invested in everyone around him, and I'm sure he will add even more potential to Lance Archer, who is, to be fair, a seasoned veteran. Someone who's been doing this for a very long time. People remember him as Lance Hoyt in TNA. He's been around the block as Lance Archer, and he's a very good wrestler. He's very capable, and he's a beastly individual in his own right. And I think that this match has the potential, particularly if Jake Roberts is around by this point, this could really be an emotional contest and a really fantastic storytelling perspective and a psychological bout that people can really enjoy. This is really going to be one for the wrestling fans. I'm really excited about that match. AEW Dynamite, phenomenal, and they announced so many good matches for next week as well. The return of MJF, which is awesome. We're going to have Jon Moxley versus Frankie Kazarian, so we're going to get almost a fresh rotation of guys coming in, which is awesome. Chris Jericho will be tagging with Sammy Guevara. He hasn't competed in a while. They're going to be facing Kenny Omega and Matt Hardy, so we're going to see the in-ring debut of Matt Hardy as well. Fantastic stuff. That already looks like an amazing week of matches. So I'm already excited about AEW Dynamite for next week, and that's what's so cool about this product. When they get it right, They just get it right every time. And I'm really excited for what they're going to do next week and for Double or Nothing as well. Top stuff for AEW Dynamite this week was phenomenal. But I'd also like to know what you guys thought, so make sure you leave a comment below, make sure you like and subscribe, hit that bell icon so you can get all notifications of our future content going forward. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, to check out the brand new WrestlePlug.com. On that website you're going to find fresh articles pretty much every day or every other day from us. Loads of wrestling content, not to mention the podcast and a load of other great stuff too. You can check out our past guests, you can see what all the hosts are doing and what they're up to, etc. It's a really cool platform, something that we've made from scratch, and it's also something that we have designed to give back to you guys, to say thank you for all the hard work, all the hard graft, and all the support that you have given in return to us. From myself, Aeron, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening, and we will catch you very soon for more nonsense and more quickfire reviews of wrestling on the Wrestle Plug.